Imagine a man locks his family inside a bunker for 35 years. That's in the 1999 released movie called Blast from the Past. The year is 1962. Calvin and Helen are throwing a party at their house. Helen is pregnant with a baby, and Calvin is a scientist who's doing great financially thanks to his inventions. The party is going great, but then a man informs Calvin that there's very important news on the television. U.S. President Kennedy informs the nation that they're currently in a standoff against the Soviet Union over the fact that the Soviet Union has installed nuclear-armed missiles on Cuba. Fearing the worst, Calvin calls an end to the party and asks his guests to leave. As soon as everyone's gone, Calvin takes his pregnant wife into his secret bunker that he had built in case of emergencies. Calvin is sure that a nuclear war with the Soviet Union is imminent, and he has to save his family. Just then, a pilot of a fighter jet loses control of the aircraft due to some mechanical fault. He ejects himself out of the plane, and the jet crashes straight onto Calvin's house. The huge impact causes Calvin to believe that his hunch was right, and the nuclear war has started. He locks himself and his wife inside the shelter, stating that they keep themselves from getting in contact with the radiation. Calvin tells his wife that the radiation will stop to take effect in exactly 35 years. So that's 35 years of their lives that they need to spend inside that bunker. But fear not, Calvin was already prepared and had the whole bunker designed to look like their actual home. Helen doesn't take this revelation too happily, and Calvin stresses that there's no need to worry and he has prepared for everything. Calvin has enough food, power, and water supply to last them for years. Helen gives birth to their son Adam. Being a scientist and an inventor, Calvin can pretty much make anything. He makes a handy TV which projects reversed images and can only play recorded film tapes. While they get busy living their lives underground, their property has been sold off and the construction of a malt shop takes place right above them. While the life above moves on in its pace, Adam gets raised in the culture of 1962, watching the TV shows from that timeline. Calvin grows up without any outside connection and is always there with his mom and dad. In 1975, Calvin shows some stocks to Adam, which he had bought before the nuclear bombing. Adam keeps the stock papers even though he believes there isn't much value in it. Adam also gets his dad's baseball cards, which took him years to collect. 1995, Calvin and Helen have grown old, and it's Adam's 33rd birthday. Helen gives him her self-made coat, and Calvin gives him his newly designed roller skates. For his birthday wish, Adam tells his parents that he wished to meet a girl. Calvin says that there's only 2 years left, and that Adam might meet the girl of his dreams. Exactly 2 years later, the lock to their bunker starts unlocking on itself. Calvin opens the huge door, and when he finally steps out of it, he confirms that there's no radiation present outside. They all get excited, but when Adam asks if he can go see the outside world, Calvin replies that they still need to be cautious as they don't know how the world has turned out to be in the last 35 years. The outside world is as bad as it's pretty much always is. 2 homeless people are talking to each other. Then they experience an earthquake. The ground below slowly opens up, and one of the homeless men is sure that he's seen God, but it's just Calvin in his radiation suit to check if the outside world is worth coming to. Calvin goes around and sees people eating off from garbage, sick people vomiting everywhere, and violent gangs roaming around with firearms. Overall, Calvin concludes that the world outside is done for and they're going to continue living down in the bunker. However, Helen has had enough of living underground for 35 years and wants her son to experience real life. Calvin and Helen have a fight which results in Calvin having trouble with his heart. Helen says that she needs to take care of him and cannot leave his side. So, Adam volunteers to go outside and bring the necessary items for his father's survival. Helen hands his son a shopping list and some quick advice on how to survive outside. Adam gets his things packed and bids farewell to his dad, who suggests he finds a healthy girl and brings her home, so that he has someone to live with when his parents eventually leave him. And most importantly, Calvin warns him to not visit the evil adult bookstores. With that, Calvin gets out of the bunker, and the homeless man yet again confuses him for a god, and asks for his forgiveness as he believes he has made a mess out of the life which was given to him. Not fully understanding what he's talking about, Adam gives some words of encouragement and gets on his way. Adam can't help but smile as he looks at the sky for the first time in his life. He sees a black woman as well, and let me just say, if this movie was released in 2022, it would get canceled for sure. Just a couple of steps away from his house, Adam finds the adult bookstore which his father warned him against visiting. Calvin gets to a grocery store and he has a long list of items to buy. But before he can do that, it finally dawns on him that he doesn't know the address of his house, and he doesn't know how to go back. Calvin is now lost, and he goes out searching for landmarks which can help him track down his home. He also runs out of money and sees a shop which buys baseball cards. He shows his father's extremely rare baseball card collection to the shop owner, who tries to buy it for a total of $500. Calvin is about to accept the offer, but luckily, a lovely woman named Eve who works for the shop owner warns Adam about the scam offer and reveals that each one of the cards in his collection is worth thousands of dollars. Eve obviously gets fired and is told to get out by the shop owner. Adam follows her and tells her that he's lost and has nowhere to go. Seeing Adam's weird behavior and comments, Eve runs to get away from him. But Adam offers her one of his baseball cards in return that she helps him find a hotel to stay the night. The card offered to her is worth $4,000, so Eve accepts it and drives Adam in her car to get into a hotel. She drops him off at a hotel, gets the card, which she was promised, and then takes off without saying a word. Now, Adam believes that the current world takes baseball cards as a form of payment. He immediately gets corrected and later tips the hotel worker in proper dollar bills. Next day, Eve comes to the hotel to check on Adam. She gives him his card back, saying she felt bad for taking it in exchange of just driving into the hotel. After doing what she came for, Eve tries to get away from him, but Adam follows her and asks if she has a husband or a boyfriend. Adam can't hold back his happiness when he hears the answer is no. Eve is in a hurry to leave as she has a job to find. In order to stay close to her, Adam offers her a job to help him sell all his baseball cards and also help him buy all the things in his shopping list. Eve accepts his offer, and the first day of her new job is spent helping Adam buy a large stock of food supplies and toiletries. Adam gets dropped off at the hotel without any formal goodbye, and he stays up all night waiting for the morning sun to rise so he can meet Eve again. Eve makes it clear to Adam that she will not date him as her past relationships weren't that great. So Adam asks her to help him find a wife. Eve invites him to her house for dinner and introduces him to her gay housemate and friend Troy, who is as equally confused as Eve by Adam's weird comments on life. To try and guess where Adam is from, Eve volunteers to use her psychic powers. She takes Adam's hands and makes guesses, while Adam nervously tries not to get excited. Meanwhile, Helen is bored of sitting around in the bunker, and she decides to get out just for a while. She gets out of the bunker, and the homeless man believes her to be God's mother. And he has gathered more followers now. Adam gets a complete makeover through some help from Troy, and he proudly shows off his newly bought set of roller skates. He learns to dance to the tune of YMCA and watches a baseball game. To Adam, everything is new, and even the rain makes him feel like it's a miracle. Slowly and steadily, Eve starts to take a liking to Adam, even though she has promised to help him find a girlfriend. Eve takes Adam to a club where they might find a girlfriend for him. There, Adam meets Eve's friend Sophie, and they quickly bond with each other thanks to their mutual fondness of the French language. Eve gets jealous as she watches them speak passionately in French and takes Adam away from there. Adam later finds another attractive girl who he wants to approach, but Eve tells him that he shouldn't go for her. Troy then points at another girl, and this time Eve cannot stop him. Adam walks straight up to the girl and starts up a conversation. Despite Troy and Eve believing Adam will bomb, they're surprised to see Adam get quite popular among the women in the club. Adam takes them to the dance floor and dances brilliantly with both of them. The dance routine is truly awesome, and Eve is clearly jealous to see him have fun with other girls. Adam ends the dance with a striking pose, and Eve quickly calls him back. Seeing what Adam had just done, she accuses him of acting stupid and not knowing many things. She asks Adam to stop lying to her, and Adam is all ready to tell her everything about him and his family. But then, Eve's ex-boyfriend Cliff shows up and interrupts them. He takes Adam's seat and asks Eve to have a drink with him. To make Adam jealous, Eve takes off with Cliff, leaving Adam sad and alone. Adam can't help but get sad after seeing Eve drink with her ex-boyfriend. So he goes up to them and makes Eve know that he's not liking it. Cliff then pushes Adam away from there to show himself as the alpha male. But Adam lets him know that he knows how to defend himself. Seeing that Adam is good at fighting, Cliff tries to blindside him several times, but at the end of each try, he gets punched by Adam. Cliff finally makes a wise decision and leaves them alone. Eve then quits and tells Adam that she can no longer work for him. Troy later gets home, and Eve asks him about where Adam is. Troy replies that he saw Adam leave with the two girls he was dancing with. Eve is obviously concerned, and Troy calls her out for being in love with Adam. Eve tries to deny it with all her strength and power, but it's evident that she truly is in love with Adam. Troy then reveals that he was lying and Adam didn't leave with the two girls. Eve smiles to hear that Adam isn't with another girl, but then Troy tells her that Adam actually left the club with Sophie. Eve cries out in frustration and says, "Anyone but Sophie." She storms out of her house to get to Sophie's place and stop her from taking Adam away from her. But wait, Adam is already outside and unintentionally scares Eve. Eve is now hurt and angry because of the embarrassment she felt in front of the man she loves. Adam calms her down and applies first aid to her injured knee. Eve concernedly asks what he did in Sophie's apartment. Adam replies that Sophie was very hospitable, but he didn't want to be with her, so he left and came straight to meet Eve. Hearing this, Eve can no longer stop herself. She leans forward and kisses Adam, who gets his first kiss at the age of 35 years. Eve finally confesses her love to Adam, who feels like it's his turn to tell all the truths. He tells Eve about how his father and mother took shelter in their bunker from a Soviet Union's airstrike, and how he was born and raised in that bunker. He tells Eve that he spent all of his life underground until he came out a few days earlier, and now that Eve loves him, he can take her to his bunker where they can live together forever. It's quite understandably hard for Eve to take it all in, and she politely asks Adam to leave, who happily believes that everything is going to be great. Next day, while driving around in his van, Adam stops after noticing the adult bookstore, which he had seen on his first day outside of the bunker. The homeless people's church are praying for the Lord to show some sign that they're not alone. Just then, Adam opens the door to check if he's actually found his home. He confirms after seeing the homeless man and leaves, while the homeless man faints in shock. He goes to Eve to tell her the good news, but Eve has invited some doctors to help him with his mental condition. Eve thinks that Adam is delusional based on the story he told her last night, and the doctors want to take Adam to their mental hospital to cure his mind. Adam tells Eve that he has finally found his home and wants to go back, but this only makes Eve believe that Adam is indeed delusional, and he gets taken by the doctors. While Adam tries to run away, Eve finally accepts the fact that she loves Adam no matter how stupid he or his story seems. Adam gives all his remaining baseball cards to Eve and drives away in his van to go back home. He finally gets home and is warmly greeted by his parents, and no, the homeless man has followed him to his house. Anyway, Eve and Troy later find out that Adam has taken all the food supplies which he had bought. They go to Adam's hotel hoping to find him, but Adam isn't there. Troy then finds some stock certificates of some pretty big companies that Adam left behind, which dates back to 1961. Troy calls the stock exchange and finds out that the stocks are worth up to millions of dollars. Meanwhile, with some help from the homeless church, Adam is moving the food supplies and other essentials from the van to his bunker. Troy and Eve go to the adult bookstore as Adam had previously cited it to be his home. But the bookstore owner makes it clear that Adam isn't there. There's a lot of things at the store, but no one named Adam. Discouraged and defeated, Troy and Eve leave in their car, but on their way, Eve sees Adam and calls for him. She gets out of her car, jumps straight into Adam's arm and kisses him. He takes her to visit his mom and dad, who are extremely excited to see that their son has finally found a girlfriend. Adam tells his parents that he's leaving with Eve and will get back in 2 months after he sorts everything for life out of the bunker. Adam and Eve sell the stocks for millions of dollars and buy themselves a nice home. Adam gets his parents back into civilization, while Calvin is mesmerized to see the technological advancement in 35 years. Helen is just happy to be back outside. In the end, it's a happy family living freely in the outside world. And that's the end of the video. If you have made it till the end and enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and also subscribe to the channel to never miss out on our videos.